So I normally like to sit out here at night while I'm doing my thing. Yeah, but man, it feels awesome right now considering the summer we've had thus far. And I've had a thought about like just talking about a topic, um, kind of a random topic, just whatever's going on in my dome piece. And um, I thought I'd talk about hunting only because, and I'm probably do another one of these once me and Mark are on the road because we're gonna have tons of time to talk about shit. Um, but I guess like self sustainability more than just hunting. Um, like we're super fortunate. We've worked really hard, just like a lot of Americans. We've worked really hard to get where we're at here. Um, and I joined the army when I was 19, and they don't really. When you get out of the army, I did about 5.5 years active duty to start with, thereabouts, and like it wasn't supposed to be that long, but it ended up being that long, and I didn't know anything. Like I literally didn't know really much of anything at all when I joined. I was 19 years old. I liked hunting and fishing and stuff like that, but I really fell in love with hunting when I was at Fort Benning. Now it's called Fort Moore because all the woke politic bullshit. But I really just fell in love with hunting, and I had a couple spots on the south side of Benning that really didn't get much traffic at all, like almost none. Like I would spend I would spend my weekends out there. If I wasn't, if me and Nick weren't my best friend, that we were in third bat together. If we weren't up in Atlanta partying or down at Panama City partying, or if I wasn't, home for whatever reason, I was typically hunting. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I'm gonna take that wind chime down. It's driving me nuts. But I fell in love with hunting, and I think part of the reason is because most of Benning was like kind of a wilderness. There, you had Main Post and you had Sand Hill and Third ID, and outside of that, there just wasn't much. And we were on Main Post, like the south side of Main Post, close to the airfield, of course. And this is pre 9/11, so you had free reign, and I started pig hunting. Well, I was kind of everything hunting, but I really enjoyed shooting pigs, and I got pretty okay at it. I shot some dandies. And every once in a while we'd fix one up, but like there was a thing on Benning, you were supposed to get them checked by like the post DNR because they had the potential to carry hepatitis C, I believe, one of the hepatitis strains. And so a lot of times we would just shoot them. It was more like sport, which is kind of sad in retrospect. And they tore stuff up pretty bad. They were hell on quail and all the upland quail and doves. Oh, Humbird. You see him? I don't know if you can see him on that or not, but anyway, yeah. So and like deer hunt and stuff like that. Saw a couple dandies, but I really just like the excitement of pig hunting on the ground. Really kind of like get right in with them, shoot them at like 10 feet, 5 feet, where if you didn't hit them and kill them, they could tear you up if they felt like it. And I got treed a couple times, but it kept me outside, and I ended up stumbling into some really kind of like what was to me wonders. I found like an artesian well, artesian spring, sorry, just bubbling out of the ground, and it was in. I got the post water, the guys that did the water on post to test it, and it was like they wanted to know where it was because it was like stupid, you know, clean or whatever. But that was when you could do stuff like that, and now I just don't know if that's the case. But that's ultimately what got me hardcore into hunting. And then when I got off active duty, we moved to Maryland, and then I worked at a tree farm, started learning about that kind of stuff, and it was probably one of the best places to hunt deer in the state of Maryland. And oh shit, I just dumped that all over me. And I killed a couple doozies, and then we had a crop damage permit, so we, you know, like in the summer, you had to shoot them in the summer, and which was wasteful, but they were really destructive. And then they ended up getting dogs to like they got dogs and had them on an underground fence and moved their food around and stuff. So that ended up being a better way to manage the deer, to keep the deer off the trees anyway. But I could take somebody out hunting that had never been and basically guarantee get them a deer. Kind of like here, like at any given point, I can get somebody a deer here. Like if it's a kid or something, their first deer situation. Because that's to me, that's the key to fall in love with the outdoors, is being successful at whatever it is you're doing. The weather agreeing with you and stuff like that. And only when you kind of triumph through the nasty parts, once you really go head over heels for something, and then it gets hard or whatever, it's snowing, raining, whatever the case is, and you're still out there slogging through it, then when you get out and you decide you're going to go after, at least with hunting, you're going to go after, say, elk, which is infinitely harder animal to hunt than white-tailed deer. Like there's infinitely more difficult. Everything about elk hunting is hard. And I'm sure there's harder animals out there to hunt, but I would say, I've been up in the mountains in Afghanistan where we had ibex and stuff like that, but you're there for a different reason. And I've got to see some pretty awesome stuff out there. But as far as here in the United States, white-tailed deer and hog hunting is probably the best entrance into the shooting sports and stuff like that. At least for me. Liam got his first deer when he was 9 years old. Lily never showed any interest in going hunting, but she loves trapping. So, you don't necessarily have to go and kill stuff. You could always trap it and relocate and that kind of thing. But around here we trap coyotes, and they always get eliminated. But they're just too big, too dangerous. But we have enormous coyotes here, 60, 70, pushing 80 pounds. But anyway, but as far as hunting goes, like my feeling on it is when I go out in the woods, or go out west, go up in the mountains, or even when I go, in the mountains here, go on a hike, like I notice things that I know very few people notice. Like I've been on the AT, the Appalachian Trail up at Shenandoah, and walking by myself and smell the propolis on a wild bee colony. And when you've been around bees, you can distinguish that kind of stuff, where somebody else, they're just gonna be like, oh, I wonder what that smell is. It's probably a flower or something like that, but I know exactly what it is. And you just notice things that most people don't, and like Liam's kind of like a turkey nut. Like anytime we go out, that kid spots a turkey. It's kind of wild. And he's been turkey hunting a lot, and he's had opportunities, and turkey hunting is really, really, really difficult. That's something that, unless you're confident, that's not an entry-level animal. A white-tailed deer is an entry-level animal. Hogs are entry-level. You just got to put in a lot of work into them turkeys are just hard to hunt. And I've gotten lucky and killed them, like I've gotten lucky and killed elk. But as far as hunting them, they're pretty hard, and hogs can be, um, especially when they go nocturnal. Um, but yeah. So when I moved to Maryland, and then of course to Delaware, I didn't really hunt much in Delaware because it was like I'd shot some snow geese and some Canadians on the river and things of that nature. And I think I might have, I did some squirrel hunting, but I'm not huge into small game. And then I did a lot of fishing. I did a lot of fishing on the beach and in the river behind the house. Um, but you don't necessarily have to go hunting, but fishing is another good, way to get outside. Maryland, I fished a lot also. Had some dandy smallmouth spots on the Monocacy River there by Frederick, and then it got me, I got introduced into fly fishing, so I did that, and I've done that all over the place now. I don't even know how many states I've fly fished, and I'm not very good, but I do enjoy it. It's super super relaxing, and it just puts you in a position where you can witness those cool things. Like we were in Teton National Park, and I was fishing the Snake River below the dam, and my wife took a picture of me fishing, and there was an osprey, and then I guess she like realized that there was something going on with this osprey, and there was like an osprey above my head or something like that, and so she takes another picture of the osprey all zoomed in, and it's got like a trout in its talons, and it's just a badass picture, and if you're sitting in the city somewhere or driving down the road, even in, Teton or Yellowstone, you're not going to see that kind of stuff. You got to get off the road and in order to have those cool experiences. And, it was neat. It was super cool. And then, on that same road trip, we were on the Oregon coast, and she took a picture of me, standing at the water with my head down. Like I didn't even know she was taking a picture. Well, in the distance in the picture, there was 3 gray whales, and just happened to surface at that time. We didn't even realize it until we were going through the pictures later. But it's neat, and when you get out to go hunting and fishing and being in the outdoors, you get to experience that cool stuff that people sitting in a cubicle somewhere, they don't get it. They aren't privy to that. They can be, but they choose not to be. And I understand that some people just can't take the time off and stuff, but most of the time they choose not to, or they go on cruises or whatever, like silly shit. But back to hunting. So like moving here to Virginia, but my buddy Mark that I'll be going to Alaska with. He and I have been hunting for years, and then me and Dan, he and I have been hunting for a real long time now. And Mark has his family's got a bunch of property down in South Carolina, so we go down there a couple times a year for turkey and deer, and sometimes during the summer. Not so much anymore, but hopefully that'll pick back up. But we have a good old time. And they've got a nice cabin and stuff down there, and about 500 or 600 acres, I guess is what it is. And it's free range; you can do whatever you want. We can shoot out to about 1,200 yards out there, yada yada. But so if you have the opportunity, or you even have the inclination to go hunting, it's one of those things that is unbelievably rewarding. Like you don't even have to be successful in order to see order to experience the reward. I can go, like last year we went elk hunting, about the same area that we've been successful in the past, but we had to go the unit north, because the unit that we normally get, they stopped the over-the-counter tags, and now Colorado altogether, I think, is my understanding is they've stopped the over-the-counter tags, so we've got to figure something else out. But it was hard last year, and there was a lot of assholes on ATVs, and that's the other thing is if you're out hunting, and I understand that everybody needs to get out and not everybody's in shape and yada yada, but that's kind of like the point to getting out there is the hard work leading up to it, right? Especially with elk hunting and mule deer hunting, goats, sheep, all those critters are just hard to hunt, like you got to pay to play. And when you get out on your four-wheeler, you're typically ruining it for yourself and everybody else. And it's just lazy. And that won't be very popular, but I don't really care. I have the same general opinion about people that hunt out of tree stands. You're not hunting. That's not hunting. That's ambushing. And most of the time that comes with baiting. So that would be considered just harvesting, not the actual hunting process. There's nothing, you're not doing anything. You're not tracking an animal. You're not paying attention to, broken twigs and prints and piles of shit. And, when you go elk hunting and stuff, you can smell their piss. They've been wallowing, that kind of thing. So when you're hunting in a tree stand or just setting up a blind and just day after day, sitting there for 8-10 hours, that's not hunting. That's just my opinion. And the thing is you're cheating yourself out of all those other experiences. You're valuing the harvesting of the animal above everything else. And that's the problem. At least that's the problem I see with it is I get to experience. I may not kill anything, and I'm totally fine with that. And I've passed on animals like I could smoke that fool right now, but honestly, sometimes I'd rather just watch them, and be able to have that experience again and again and again. And a lot of people kind of forget about that they just get it in their mind that they have to kill something, they have to be successful, and that's not the case. Now I get it if you're starving, absolutely, that's above all, but very few people that get out and go hunting are in that position. And then they forget why they're there in the first place. Like it becomes like kind of convoluted. Like they can't figure out what's more important, the experience or the harvesting of the animal. Well, to me, the experience is always going to outweigh the harvesting of the animal, because I can come, personally, I can come here and shoot a bunch of deer or whatever, or just go to the store. It's all about the experience for me. And I love being out there. I love seeing bears, and I love seeing elk, and I love seeing deer and moose and whatever, seeing porcupines and that kind of stuff. Maybe take a little rod and go fishing while you're at it. But I guess my point to this rant, it's not so much a rant, but like we're losing so much area to farming, these bullshit communities, apartment buildings. Like here outside of Charlottesville, there was like some pretty good tracts of woods, and they've nuked them. That's just my word for it. They've nuked them, got rid of all the vegetation, and thrown apartments in there. And I don't understand why. I can't fathom it. Like, to me, it's just not worth it. And the thing is those apartments cost more than what my mortgage costs. So I don't know. That's just my thought on it. It's definitely not worth it. And like I've Used to spend quite a lot of time in Central Florida, and I had the opportunity, and I was, I would call it blessed. Not the most religious person in the world, but I would definitely call it blessed that I was able to meet a guy, random dude in a bar that had a bunch of property. He invited me to go turkey hunting. I killed a couple beautiful Osceola turkeys. Got to experience just cool stuff. I got to see a Florida panther twice, same one twice. At least I'm pretty sure. That he had all these springs popping up. I think they were artesian springs, whatever. But that real crazy clear blue water, all over his place. He had like 3,400 acres, and at that time, that's when they were building the villages. And I hate that place. Um, and anybody that lives there cannot say that they love nature and they love the outdoors in any place like it. Um, you know, because they pump more chemicals and stuff from the stupid golf courses into the earth and into the water table and everything. But I killed these two Osceola turkeys almost back to back. I was really lucky, and I got a picture somewhere of me holding one in front of this huge oak tree, this enormous oak tree. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful oak tree. And and what they did is they went in there and they ran the taxes up, pumped up the taxes, and ran this dude out. Basically, he got to the point he had like 3,000 plus acres that had been in his family for God knows how long, and it was that Florida prairie, like rolling hills and stuff. And they pumped his taxes up and ran him out, and then they built a golf course on there, and among other things. They built a golf course, put a pond in, and they left that tree, and it's right on one of the golf courses, and it's in the villages. And yeah, it's just really, really sad. So I don't go. I don't go down there. Kids' grandparents live there, and I won't have anything to do with it. It's just super, super depressing. Um, so I don't know. Like, I hate to be judgmental, but because I really don't have a fix for it other than we got to get away from monocrops. Like, just that stuff is completely unnatural. Um, that it's sad, and it's getting harder and harder to hunt, and to find good places to hunt, but and fish and just be outside. It's getting smaller, but I think like at some point there's going to be a make or break. Like, we'll have to choose what's more important: being able to go to the store and buy genetically modified corn and shit like that, or the outdoors, the ability to get out to the outdoors. So I don't know. I don't know what's the way forward, but it's not what we're doing right now, I don't think. But I don't have an answer for it either. But my point is, I'm getting ready to go to Alaska, and I love being outside in the wilderness, not just in the woods and being outside. I like being away from everything, like when you look up at the night sky, you can see every star there is, away from all this light pollution and stuff like that. And then waking up to sunrises over the mountains, and you got snow-capped mountains. That's just heaven for me, And it makes me wonder if when you get to experience those things, if you aren't experiencing, they say heaven's on earth, if that's not what it is, like, because I really, like, I love it. It's hard to not, like, kind of get emotional about it, because in people that have never experienced it like that just don't have a clue. And I feel sorry for them. I really feel sorry for them. You don't have to go out and kill animals, but you know, like when you put it in when you're feeding your family with it, I've got no issue with it. It's the sport hunting I take issue with, and I'm sad to say that like with the pigs and stuff, I probably, you know, you could call that sport hunting. Um, but man, uh, I really encourage people to and get out in the mountains, get out to the outdoors, go to the desert. I love the desert. I think the desert's freaking cool. Talk about quiet and clean. And then when you look up, that's the best place to look up. If you're into stars and stuff, or you know, you just get giddy over that, man. Go out to the Canyonlands, you know, Capitol Reef, Canyonlands, uh, you know, Grand Canyon. Shit, um, Monument Valley. That's wildly good. All that out there is just unbelievably good for that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's cool. So I just, you know, that's hunting for me. I love it. You know, it gets me outside. I get to experience all that cool shit, and get pretty good, get the best meat there is, and on top of it. So, thanks.